Hi, this is Margo. This is Wednesday evening, June the 19th, 2019, 8:03 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. I'm getting a little bit of a late start on this earthquake report tonight. Before we look at that, I want to talk about the moon. We just had a full moon, and it's called a strawberry moon. So the moon was full on Sunday, June the 16th, and it said it would look full on Sunday, June the 16th, and Monday, June the 17th in North America, since it crests in the wee hours of the 17th. So it was full on Monday morning. It appears opposite the sun and the Earth-based longitude at 4:31 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So, let's see, it was conjunct Jupiter on Sunday, and a full strawberry moon. The June full moon, or the last full moon of spring, is called the full strawberry moon. The full moon got its name from the Algonquin tribes in eastern North America, who knew it was a signal to gather the ripening fruit of wild strawberries. An old European name for this moon is the honey moon, or the mead moon. It has also been called the full rose moon in Europe. And mead is a drink created by fermenting honey mixed with water, sometimes with fruits, spices, grapes, or hops. So that's what was going on. And we also have the solstice is this Friday in 2 days. The summer solstice, this is Friday, and it's the longest day of the year. It also denotes the first day of summer in the northern hemisphere. It'll also be the shortest day of the year for those in the southern hemisphere, and it'll be their winter solstice. So the June solstice 2019 summer solstice in the northern hemisphere will occur on June 21st. Here's what you need to know about the longest day of the year, plus more solstice facts. Okay, it's Friday, June 21st at 11:54 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This date marks the official beginning of summer in the northern hemisphere, occurring when Earth arrives at the point in its orbit where the North Pole is at its maximum tilt, about 23.5 degrees toward the sun, causing the longest day and shortest night of the calendar year. By longest day, we mean the longest period of sunlight. At the June solstice, the northern hemisphere receives sunlight at the most direct angle for the year. And now, what is the summer solstice? In the northern hemisphere, the June solstice, aka summer solstice, occurs when the sun reaches both its highest and northernmost points in the sky. It marks the start of summer in the northern half of the globe. In contrast, the June solstice in the southern hemisphere is when the sun is at its lowest point in the sky, marking the start of winter. The word solstice comes from Latin solstitium, from sol, meaning sun, and stitium, still or stopped, reflecting the fact that on the solstice the sun appears to stop moving in the sky as it reaches its northern or southernmost point. After the solstice, the sun appears to reverse course and head back in the opposite direction. The timing of the June solstice is not based on a specific calendar date or time. It all depends on when the sun reaches its northernmost point from the equator. Therefore, the solstice won't always occur on the same day. Currently, it shifts between June 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. So, I'll just finish reading this. The summer solstice is the day with the longest period of sunlight. Notice how the sun appears highest in the sky at the solstice. Its rays strike Earth at a more direct angle, causing the efficient warming we call summer. I'll say. It's definitely warming efficiently. Because the sun is highest in the sky on this day, you will notice that your shadow at noon is the shortest it will be all year. For those who live in the southern hemisphere, this is the shortest day of the year and marks the arrival of winter. So here it shows the different equinoxes. And so on. And there's a picture. So, that's from the Old Farmer's Almanac. And this big earthquake of note today in my book, well, we're still having large earthquakes over here in the Kermadec Islands, but look at what happened over here on Papua New Guinea today. We had 3 that were registered on USGS, and there was a 4.9 near Ambunti at 7:19 this morning. Notice where it is. It's not very far from the Manam volcano. It's right up here. And then there were 2 on the western end of the island. A 6.3 near Abepura. This came in at 10:24 this morning. It was 12 kilometers deep. There was no tsunami with this. I looked at all the warnings. There was no tsunami. And then at 6:13 this evening, and these are Pacific time that I'm giving you because that's my time zone, there was a 4.7 also at Abepura, 35 kilometers deep. And for those of you who did not see my last 2 shows, I was showing this huge sulfur dioxide release near Papua New Guinea, and this is what it looks like today. There's not really a big new release. This is what's left over, and it's dissipating. This is total column, and it started on Monday the 17th. We'll just backtrack a little bit. And here's where it released on Monday the 17th. And Manam volcano was also going off Monday and Tuesday. There's no report of it today. And then on Tuesday, this is what happened. And this blast was so forceful. Well, on the Monday blast too, you can see the ripples around it of the sulfur dioxide going out, and this is in total column. And if you look at 500 HPA, that's halfway up in the atmosphere. That's 18,000 feet. You can see how dense it is. It's darker than the color chart even. It's off the chart. And you can see the concentric circles of the force sending it out. And you know, I was saying that considering how forceful this was, I felt like they were kind of downplaying the Methane volcano eruption. They said it only got to what, 12,000 or 14,000 feet. So I couldn't see how this could be like that. But so I'm thinking this was also signaling a release for the big earthquake that came in today. And there have been aftershocks and quite a few smaller earthquakes too. So we're going to look at those first. We'll just leave this as a background. So we're going to go over to volcano discovery, and here is the report page about, they called it a 6.2 near Irian Jaya, Indonesia today, and it came in at 1724 UTC time. USGS has it as a 6.3. It's equivalent to 1.9 atomic bombs. So that was pretty forceful, and I'm not seeing this reported anywhere. I don't know if I'm just not looking in the right place. I feel like I'm in the twilight zone. You know, normally people report on these big ones like this, and there are no reports that anybody felt it. Here are all these other little earthquakes that happened since then. So if you want to look at the map, oh, why did that not show up? Hang on. I just looked at one of these. I think I hit the map and can't get it back. Anyway, there was a whole bunch of them that happened all around. There was a 4.9, 3.4, 3.6, 3.2, 4.2, 3.1, 3.7, 3.4, and 4.8. So, but nobody said they felt it. So, I don't know what's going on. I would feel a 6.2, I think. I think I would feel that. So anyway, let's move on. And now, let's look at the lake level at the Oroville Dam. Let's see what the latest number is. At 8 p.m. Pacific time, it's 895.40 feet and rising. Yesterday, get my notes here. From midnight to midnight yesterday, it went up 0.14 feet. So, let's see how much it's gone up today. 895.40, and at midnight this morning it was 895.22. So it's gone up 0.18 feet so far today. And Northern California is very hot. It's in, high 90s and hundreds. And so we've got some snow. We've got snow melt, definitely. And we can see the inflows were the lowest they were was from on this what's showing here today, starting at 9 o'clock this morning. The lowest was 4,003 CFS, and then they've been different. They've been like around between 5 and 6 for most of the readings, and then the highest reading was 8715 at 3 o'clock. And that's from the snow melt, because it takes time for that snow to melt and for the water to run down through all the little rivers and tributaries and get into the lake. And the outflow is they're holding it around 4,000 or maybe a little higher. So the outflow is still less than the inflow, so it's still rising. So there's that. And now let's do our earthquake report. We have USGS pulled up here for all magnitudes for the last 24 hours and showing 287 earthquakes worldwide. Of those, 32 have been 2.5 magnitude or higher. I have to get them lined up the way I like them. And so, let's see what the oldest ones are. Here's a 3.3 in Puerto Rico. That's getting up there. That came in at 9:07 last night. 3.8 at Talkeetna, Alaska. That came in at 9:55 last night. So, we will finish this report before any of these fall off the map. So I'd like to start down here in South America. Up here in Peru, we had a 4.9 near Barranca, Peru at 4:03 this afternoon, 112 kilometers deep. Then a 4.4 near Calama, Chile at 2:45 this afternoon, 143 kilometers deep. And then a 5.5 near San Martin, Argentina at 6:23 this evening, 149 kilometers deep. That could have caused damage, but it was deep enough that they might not have felt too much on the surface. It was 149. So the deeper it is, the less damage it will make on the surface. Alright, now here in the South Pacific, we've got one just offshore of the North Island of New Zealand, 4.3 near Opotiki, New Zealand at 8:46 this morning. Next, coming up this red line, so 4.9 near L'Esperance Rock, New Zealand at 4:05 this afternoon. And then here's another big one where they've been having them for the last 2 days here. Very large ones. 6.4 at 12:01 this morning. I checked, there were no tsunamis with this. Now, so a lot of these have fallen off the map. Then up here near Ohonua, Tonga, a 5.1 at 11:03 last night. And then a 4.5 near Hihifo, Tonga at 4:59 this afternoon. 267 kilometers deep, so that's getting deeper. Now those deep ones are what will make the plates move around the planet. And then at Vanuatu we had a 5.8 at 4:15 this afternoon and a 4.9 at 4:36 this afternoon, both at Sola, Vanuatu. So those are all in the ocean. Now here's Papua New Guinea. So we'll just talk about the ones here at USGS. So the first one was this 4.9 near Ambuti at 7:19 this morning, 94 kilometers deep. The second one was this 6.3 near Abepura at 10:24 this morning, 12 kilometers deep. And then this 4.7, same place, at 6:13 this evening, 35 kilometers deep. So we can see this red line moving across. That's the tectonic plate. And so that's where earthquakes happen. And we saw this sulfur dioxide release right up here. And so, you know, that's where the plate was moving. And it released. And then we have all these earthquakes. And we had Manam exploding. And then over here at the Philippines was a 5.0 near Ponda Guitan at 7:04 this evening. And then at Japan, here's one just off the coast. A 4.7 near Kawaguchi at 9:55 this morning, 69 kilometers deep. And then up here near Russia, off the Kamchatka Peninsula, was a 4.8 near Nikolskoye, Russia, at 8:53 this morning. They had one here yesterday too. So that's a good size. All in the ocean here. Let's see what was on land. We've got one over here. This was in the Mediterranean Sea, a 4.2 near Valsamata, Greece, at 4:24 this afternoon. So that covers the international earthquakes. So now let's go to all magnitudes. Starting in Hawaii. We've got 9 here today. I'll call them off. 1.8 at Kilauea. 2.1 Pahala. 1.9 Pahala. 1.8 Pahala. 1.8 Kilauea, 1.8 Kilauea, 1.9 Pahala, 1.8 Ho Now Now Na Poo Poo, and 1.8 near Kilauea. So the largest one was this 2.1. So the magnitude has gone down today here, but it's still showing quite a bit of movement. Now coming across to the Caribbean, we've got 8 here today. They're all in the ocean, so no damage. They probably didn't feel anything. Here's a 3.3, 2.4, 3.0, 2.6, 2.4, 2.0, 2.5, and 2.1. Now we'll move on up to Alaska. Look at this. Look at these Aleutian Islands. They have been busy. Very busy. So we've got 105 here today, so that's an uptick. Alaska averages 50 to 100. Well, now I moved it to get all of them, 106. So they average 50 to 100 a day. So this is a little bit of an uptick for them. So we're going to start with the 2.5 magnitudes and higher. Here's a 3.8 near Talkeetna, 2.5 Cantwell, 2.6 Bull Deer Island, 2.6 Valdez, 3.8 on Mukta Island, and 2.7 Anchorage. So let's come on in. We're seeing some little ones on these volcanic islands. Now remember, this is a whole volcanic island chain. All of these little islands are volcanic. Look at this cluster here. This is at Adak. We've got 11 right here. They're small, they're microquakes, but still, I mean, small ones count. We've seen that small ones can lead to larger ones. Here at Unalaska, we've got 9. These are more microquakes. This 1.4 is the largest, but the ones on the island are under 1. And next, coming up, there's a little one coming up in this Cook Inlet. Look, we've got one right in the middle of Augustine Volcano. A minus 0.7 and another minus 0.7. And look, these are up in, they're negative depth, so they're up in the crater. They're up in the volcano, showing movement up there. Small, but still, when you see that negative depth, you know that that the magma is moving up into the chamber. So Cook Inlet is quieted down, but look, we've got a little cluster here at Anchorage, and we've got more peppered around down in southern Alaska, and we've got more peppering up through these mountains, the Alaska Range. And here's some at Fairbanks. And just going on up, one here and there. And then at the north end, we've got 5 at Koktovik, The largest one is the 2.4. So we've got some in the 2s here. And a couple of 1.7s. And now, where's Kobuk? There you are. Kobuk had 10 here today. The largest is this, like these, we had a couple of 1.5s it looks like. And the rest are 1s, mainly in the 1s range. So there's Alaska. Oh, we've got some in the little armpit here. Here's an ice quake. We had a 1.9 ice quake at Cape Yagataga. .0 and 2.2 at Haines Junction. That's getting up there. 1.1 Haines Junction. 1.3 and so on. Now let's come on down into the lower 48. We've got 152 here today. So we're going to start over here in Oklahoma. We're showing 5 here today. Here's a 1.4 at Medford. And then we've got a 3 at Hennessy, a 2.1, 1.8, and a 1.6, and a 2.0 at Moreland. Then down here in Texas, to the west of El Paso, a 3.1 near Van Horn at 10:47 last night. Now coming on up, we've got a couple here in Arizona at Meadview, a 1.8 and a 1.3. Look, this 1.3 was right at the surface, 0 depth. Here in Utah, we've got a 1.0 at Bluffdale. And let's get Yellowstone in here. We've got 12 on the map for Yellowstone today. We're going to start with this cluster down here at Old Faithful Geysers. We've got 6 here, so half of them are right down here. So this 1.8 is the highest. That came in at 10:53 last night. And the last one, and this one came in at 10:59 last night at 0.3. So all of these happened between 10:53 and 10:59. So in 6 minutes, these 6 happened. Then there's a 2.5 at Salmon, Idaho, 1.0 Dillon, Montana, 1.1 Manhattan, Montana, 1.3 at Lincoln, and a 2.2 at Lincoln. And then up here was a 0.2 at Polson. So that covers Yellowstone. Look, look at this earthquake. Exactly where we were seeing those tremors a couple of days ago. That's exactly where we saw that huge cluster. So here in the Pacific Northwest, we're showing an explosion, a 2.3 magnitude earthquake from this explosion near Bend, Oregon. That's huge. 2.3, are you kidding? That's huge. This came in at 2:47 this morning, and then a 0.4 near Low Fall, Washington. No more explosions up there. So on the tremor map for today, yesterday, we're showing 33. That's the latest. And they're near Eugene, Oregon. They're just mainly to the west of Eugene, all clustering right there. Now coming into Northern California and Northern Nevada, we've got activity. First of all, let's get oriented. Here's Chico. This is the Oroville Lake right here. This is Lake Almanor. These are large reservoirs with dams. And here's a 1.6 earthquake that happened near Belden at 2:33 this afternoon, and a 0.5 that happened at Lassen Peak. Well, yeah, in Lassen Volcano Park. They're calling it near Mineral. This came in at 11:34 last night. And then here is one at Pyramid Lake, a 0.5 that came in at 11:50 this morning. That's almost a straight line east of this one from Belden. And then we also have a whole bunch right here just north of Reno, and that's straight across from Oroville Lake, across the mountains. We got 17 here. They're all at Sun Valley, which is like a suburb of Reno, Sparks area. They started with this 0.4 at 10:59 last night, or right around 11 o'clock. And then they kept going, and then they got up into the ones range. Here's a 1.6, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, and so on. 1.5, 1.0, and the last one was this 0.7 at 8:11 this morning. So it started at 11 o'clock last night and ran for 9 hours and 11 minutes. 9/11. Maybe that's a sign. "17 earthquakes at Sun Valley." There you go. I didn't feel them, but it was a crazy day with energy for me. It was crazy. Here's a 0.9 in California near Smith Valley. Look, it's all clear at Hawthorne. Very few down here in southern Nevada. We've only got 7. on the map here today. 1.8 at Meadview is the highest. Nothing, well, we've got a 0.6 at Alamo. See if anything else is up here. Alright, now at Mammoth Lakes and Long Valley Caldera, we've got 10 here today. The highest one was this 2.0, and the rest are 1s and under. That's still moving. We got 2 at, well, 1 at Big Pine, a 1.5. Here at Coso Junction, we've got 5. These are small, under 1. We've got 3 at Cyril's Valley. These are very small. Now coming into Southern California, here's a 3.2. That's the highest one we've seen so far down here. Today, this is near Fort Irwin at 4:57 this afternoon. And here's a 2.2 magnitude quarry blast at 11:32 this morning near Boron. Here's another explosion or quarry blast at 2.1 near Primm, Nevada. Look at all these blasts. Here's a 1.2 quarry blast near Mojave, 1.1 quarry blast near Tehachapi, 1.5 quarry blast near Lebec. Here's another one. Here's a 1.1 quarry blast near Home Gardens. This is not good. How many is that? I don't know, I lost count. 1.7 in Southern California and 1.5 near Chula Vista. Quarry blast. Those were all quarry blasts. That's insane. That is insane. It's too many. Okay, we've got 34 earthquakes here tonight. Here's a 2.3 near San Clemente Island. Let's see if anything is 2.5 magnitude or higher down here. .7 at Julian. Okay, we saw that at Fort Irwin. .33. That's not a huge number. That's kind of a small number for down here. Here's a 2.0 at Idlewild. Here's our clustering near Kauai, and so on. Look at all these that are just coming in. Let's look at Glen Avon. We've only got 3 here today. Small, 1.5 is the highest. Here we've got a 1.4 at Culver City. This is not too far from those La Brea tar pits. They're on Wilshire. Let's see if I can find it real quick. You know, when I'm looking for it, I can't find it. Here's Wilshire Boulevard. Here's what is this? Fairfax. It's right over here. So that's not too far from those tar pits. So 1.4 came in at 2:18 this afternoon. Here's a 2.2 near Fillmore. We saw that. Now we're going to come up this red line, following this San Andreas fault line up. Ooh, look at all of these. We've got 7 here in the viewing area. Here's a 1.7 new Idria, 1.8 Alpaf, 2.0 Parkfield, 1.1 Parkfield, 1.1 Parkfield, 1.1, and a 1.6 at Kolami. So that's quite a few there. Coming on up, coming on up. Here is a 0.9 at Alum Rock. Here's a 1.5 Mountain House. Look at all of these. This is in the Bay area. Look, this one's right on the coast. 1.3 Santa Venetia. Here's a 1.9 at Crockett and a 2.3 at American Canyon. So that's more activity than we've seen there in a while. I'll get back to the geysers. Here's a 3.2 at Lakeport. That's getting on up there. See, it's just to the west of Clear Lake. And the geysers has 23 here today. So that's kind of a low average number. And the highest one is this 1.2. The rest are 1s and under. So we'll zoom out and see if anything huge came in. There's a 2.5 at Koktovik. That one's new. That came in at 8:38. So not too long ago. So I think that's a wrap. So I want to remind everyone that I believe we are in the end times. That's why I'm doing all these reports, so that we can keep an eye on these earthquakes and a finger on the pulse of Mother Earth. And every day that we're here is one day closer we are to the end. So I recommend everyone get your spiritual houses in order while you still have a chance. So until next time, God bless you, go in peace, and I'll talk to you soon. Good night.